It's Monday, September 13th, and that means it's time for another episode of Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia Nonprofit Conversations. I'm one of your hosts, Cecilia Sepp. I'm the principal and founder of Rogue Tulips Nonprofit Consulting and Association Management Services. And I'm here today with my friend and co-host, Agnes. I'm going to throw it over to Agnes to say hello and introduce herself.
Thank you, Cecilia. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our global audience, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Agnes Amos Coleman. I'm an author and a consultant. Over to you, Cecilia.
Thank you, Agnes. And we are really excited today. We have a little bit different content. We are here with our special guest, Mary Flavelle, who's a radio personality from Marlow FM 97.5 in Buckinghamshire, England. Welcome, Mary. Would you like to say hello and introduce yourself?
Hi, it's a real pleasure being here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very excited. I can't believe I'm talking to people in America. It's just blown me away. But my name's Mary Flavelle. I was born in Northern Ireland. And after I got married and came to England, I found a whole new life. I think looking back on Ireland was probably too small for me because I got a big head. And when you go through careers and things. And when I was in Ireland, just left school at 15, then I applied to the BBC for a job as a receptionist. I had obviously ideas and aspirations that I probably couldn't back up at the time, but it didn't stop me having a go and asking. And I got a beautiful letter that I kept for a long time because it had BBC logo at the top of the envelope. And I was so proud of that. But Mummy moved house and I lost my envelope. But it thanked me for the interest in the company. They regretted to inform me they only employed men. And it's such a statement now. But this is what we have to realize. Us ladies have only changed things in the last few years. I know I'm cracking on a bit, but it's still in the time span. We have only changed things recently. And I know some countries, some women are still fighting for identity. But, it was the same here, about 50 years ago. And after women were used to helping their men through the wars, then they were told to go back to the kitchen sink where they belong.
The same thing happened in the United States, Mary. After World War II, and the men came home and they said to the ladies, your work is no longer required.
Absolutely.
Go home. Because you got to give the men their jobs back. I mean, that actually could be a whole other episode we should have.
I think it probably would. But I did get an explanation, so I didn't hold it against the BBC forever. However, I still have an awful lot to thank them for. And at that time, they give jobs on reception areas as part of security, and it went to the ex-soldiers. So that's forgivable. And of course, I have appeared now many times on BBC. Different programs, different radio stations, and I got my training there as well too. So I'm very grateful to them.
That's wonderful.
That's great. And in your bio, Mary, I'd also like you to mention quickly how you just hung on to your dream and was able to achieve what you have achieved so far in your life. So could you talk about that a little bit too?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you. It is a great thing to have a dream. Sometimes we're not exposed to enough things to give us choices. And if you actually can dream something and it's real and it's a possibility, you can put all your energy into that and work towards getting there. And during my life passage, I have done so many different jobs, but every one of them I've learned something different from. And when I look back at it, I think, well, if I added the years up, I'm probably around about 150 now. I've been a gardener. I've been a nurse. I worked on a farm. I'm actually a qualified pruner.
Wow.
Soft fruit trees. And I hold certificates, and I've got a forklift license.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Very useful. Very useful.
You're a Renaissance lady, Mary. You're a Renaissance lady, that's for sure.
I think I just signed board.
You have definitely had an interesting life. I love hearing this story.
Oh, honestly,
Yes.
and it's the people you meet on the way as well too. But my creme de la creme that I didn't tell many people about because they sort of look at you. And I worked on a turkey farm, and I became the first poultry inspector assistant to the veterinary officers. It's got all sorts of letters. You can half after your name, but I think I choose not to have that.
Mary.
Again, it was a passage of time. I was working with people, and that was always the camaraderie, the feeling sorry for each other because we all know how badly we felt. And it was a hard job to do, but there's nothing I've done that has been easy. I've always made it as complicated as it can probably get. But hey, there's the learning curve, isn't it? Anyway, my ghost of the BBC sort of reared its head quite a few years later. I thought after all this working, hubby was doing better at work. He was earning more money. I thought I'll go back home and be the little tea lady, and change curtains and wash the dishes. Oh my God, I lasted 2 months. I was bored senseless. And I thought, oh no, I got to do something. So alongside all the jobs I did, for 22 years, I actually played netball, which is, I know some places around the USA have got it, but it's a court version of a basketball, more players. I became a qualified coach, umpire, and I got plunged to playing to the South Region level. So that was pretty high up. I did actually manage to represent England once in Holland, but that was only by default because some team didn't turn up. So that was great fun. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. And after 22 years, I felt that was it, time to hang it up. But I've been doing trophies and awards for many years during that time. And the trophy shop where I bought my awards from asked me would I like a part-time job. And I thought, well, that's perfect, isn't it? Selling the trophy and doing something I love doing and I understand the business. And one day we were visited by the Chamber of Commerce, and they asked could I come on a local TV station to talk about the trophies. But the thing in your head, one says yes and one says no. I don't have I can't say it. I just said, oh, I'd love to do that. And the fear's just not there. I've just got no sense. Try and say no, Mary. It won't come out. So anyway, off I went to do it. And I got the makeup on. We've all learned an awful lot since that was when I was painted up to the nines like a doll, and it was quite a few years ago. Arms resting the chair, thinking I'm all relaxed. I own the chair. All the instructions. White arms, brown face. I looked ridiculous. But I got through that, and of course that reared its head again from the local TV station. Thank God it was local. I went invited to a local radio station that was a neighbour of theirs, and I said, do you know what? I wanted to do this when I was 15, and it all came back again. And the weird thing is, it all came through, and a whole set of new life opened to me when I was offered a job at the Chamber of Commerce, and I took to that like a duck to water. All the jobs I had done before had trained me for this business, where they get young people in to do these jobs, and I will put my hand in my heart and say, honestly, you shouldn't. You should give the jobs to older people who've got a life experience, a work experience, who can sincerely help young businesses starting up and tell them they don't need to worry, it will be okay. Because young people they haven't learned that yet.
Right.
So, naturally my job there didn't last too long.
Well, that's like that old saying, Mary, age and experience will always overcome youth and enthusiasm.
Yeah, right.
But if you can put enthusiasm in, well, you've got the full package anyway.
That's right. Older folks have a lot of enthusiasm too.
We do now. We're a new generation of older people. We haven't learned, like if I'm thinking my granny was a little old woman who wore black and her hair tied up in a bun with a hairnet. Like she looked like she was 150 years old. But kids, you look at your older parents and they're like so old. And then you tell them what age you are now. Oh, I'm 35. Oh, how old are you? It's the time to smash the barrier of the glass ceiling is not work, it's age. And you can be anything you want to be, and you can go anywhere and do anything you want to do if you keep your courage, your enthusiasm, and your faith.
No, love it, Mary. You know what I'm interested in is all this experience of yours, and now you're in radio, you're a presenter. Can you share with our global audience what is the value of communicating, of sharing content through radio? Because there's tremendous value there. You've been doing it for years. So can you just enlighten our audience on this, please?
You know, I'll get round to this story. I'd like to say I'm typically Irish. Why say 2 words when you can say 20? So I can but the radio thing came from the Chamber of Commerce. There was a local radio station in Marlow. It was 10 years ago. No, it was actually more than that. It was about 13 years ago. And it was starting, it was applying for a license. And you have a lot of work to do to get an FM license. And you have to produce a series of programs. So being in this business field, I was asked if I could run a series of 2-hourly business show, like every Wednesday for 4 weeks. And I find my own guests, and I had this little deck, as they call it, you know, which was just twice the size of a keyboard, really. And there was a guy coming to show me what to do with it. I've never been so horror struck in all my life because I'm a technophone. And, you know, you hand me the mobile phone and I'm ready to drown the darn thing. Anyway, he's showing me this desk and he said, you better be watching it. You're doing it next week. And I said, I've been doing what next week? You know, and after looking at these desks are horrifically scary, but you actually end up moving 2 things because everything's set. They're used to dealing with idiots, you know, like me. So all you have to do is put your fader up and put your fader down. I learned that quite quickly. So I managed to do the 4 programs and I brought my own guests in. And the last week I thought, oh, I can really do this. I've got it. And I had 4 people involved in being authors, writing a book or producing a book. One was a lady who had written an ebook. One was a lady who was an author. The third lady was somebody who was an agent for a lady who had written a novel. And the fourth one, she had been commissioned to write a book. So we had this lovely myriad of people. I went through all the questions and got to the end. The chap at the back had been coaching me and giving me this little quiet too. And I closed down. This is Mary Flavelle signing out.
That's awesome.
Fader was still up, put the wrong one down. So there you go. You know, so yes, you make the mistakes, but hey, you know, getting things wrong and making mistakes is where the lessons are learned. They're never learned by getting anything right. You know, anybody that's a young person, make all the mistakes you ever want to make, because when you come out the other side, you know exactly what you did wrong, and you've got a better future as well too. So get out there and make mistakes.
I couldn't agree more, Mary. Thank you for sharing that.
Great advice. Right? And things go smoothly, right?
Anyway, that was my launch into there. That was 10 years ago. I've now been with them. They got their license and they're actually been an FM station now for the last 10 years, which is how long I've been with them. And working in the community and working for the community and in the community is absolutely wonderful, because you become part of each other's lives. And you know, the best stories, you'll know this from the people you've interviewed, you get amazing stories, and everybody has a story. There's nobody that has not got one. Everybody has got fabulous stories, and you just sometimes have to chip away and find out where it is. But you know, we get involved in the Party in the Park, which is a great event in Marlow. It's in the park. It's with our top world-class chefs all come to that, because they've actually got restaurants in Marlow. So it's a lovely town. It is an old market town, but it has lots of TV people. It's TV land. It's a nice little drive out from London, and they've got countryside, they've got the river, and they've got, you know, everything around them. It's very posh. Basically, it's very posh. So we do, my show is Good Morning Marlow, and it's on for 2 hours every morning, and it's a chat show like this. And I think one day I'm going to have to ask you to come and join me on it, and it'll be absolutely amazing.
We'll be delighted to.
We would love to accept that invitation. Thank you. Wow, this has just been so great. I think we're going to call this episode "The Wit and Wisdom of Mary Flavelle."
I love it.
Even though and you have to be back, Mary. This has just
Yes.
I
been
would
so
love to come
awesome.
back. I
And we
mean,
want to have you back for a longer episode, I think, too. Like do a special long episode like we do sometimes. Because we haven't
Yes.
even dived into the topic we were going to discuss. I mean, you touched on a little bit already, but you know how
I know, I'm
content
shocking.
helps the community. No, don't apologize. It's the great thing about our show. We never know where the conversation is going to
That's
go.
right.
So, or when the phone is going to ring. There we go. But no, this is great. So you've talked a lot already, Mary, about how you contribute to the community and getting people's stories, which is really what makes the community vibrant and vital and come to life for everyone over the airwaves. So what other kind of things do you do through Marlow FM to help the community with information?
One of our greatest things that I think that we can do, and first of all, can I just say Marlow FM is entirely run by volunteers. It runs from 7 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night with volunteers 7 days a week. And they've been doing that for 10 years. So that's a big ask of people and their time and commitment. But we're very lucky. I'm very lucky. I've got a fabulous team of 24 and they cover all sorts of topics. So we help people with advice, especially during the shutdowns that we've had. We've given people ideas of what to do while they're closed up in the house. We've done photography, we've done gardening, artwork. We've introduced all sorts of interests, people talking about relaxation, yoga, etc. We have a health and fitness show, which is very popular. I love my show because I get the one that's interesting people. And of course, that's everybody. And Thursday, we have a lifestyle, and Friday, we go from an art club to a fabulous First Friday art club. And the parenting program, they're monthly programs. So we have a mixture of daily and we have a mixture. And then the weekend is sort of all the jazz, rock, disco, new music. It's a whole plethora of different things that you can catch at the weekend. So it's feeding an audience that are very keen listeners as well too. But one of our biggest assets is the charities that we help. And we give them airtime. We announce when the events are on, and how you can go to them, where you go. The open garden schemes that are so popular over here as well too, which always raises money for a lot of. So I think it was in the thousands when we looked at how many charities we actually supported, and that's great to do it.
That's awesome. So it's obviously that you're not just providing content in the community, you're also giving back to the community. That's fabulous, Mary. I
agree with you, Agnes. I don't think that you can take. You've got to give, and if you're taking, people will not take that for long. You've got to be a giver, and I would say that everybody at Marlow FM is that person. We get involved in the carnival and the Christmas late night openings, and we play the music for the street, and we play the music for the state, and of course the poppy time whenever it's the remembrance Sundays as well. We are there as well too, so we are supporting absolutely everything that goes on in the time. And our biggest clap on the back, I would say, to the organisers and the operation team of Marlow FM is they've started a third studio in one of the local senior schools, where they're actually going to be teaching young people all about media and how to use radio, that they will actually get future careers within the media industry.
That's fantastic. And I really feel like the bad guy here, but we have to wrap up this episode in a few minutes. So I'm really enjoying it so much. We definitely would love to have you back, Mary, if you can fit us in.
I would definitely love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
For joining us, yes.
And I just want to point out a lot of the things Mary said is a volunteer-run radio station that serves the community, and there's a lot of lessons there for our audience that works in the nonprofit community in the United States and around the world. And so I just want to thank you again for coming. I'm definitely thinking this is the wit and wisdom of Mary Flavelle episode, and you are just a wonderful guest and wonderful person and so inspiring. Thank you. So, and this is the part where unfortunately I do have to do the wrap up. So Agnes, any closing thoughts?
No, I echo your sentiments, Cecilia. I think Mary's been an excellent guest. There's a value here, an opportunity for our community, the association community, to benchmark on not just, taking from our membership, but giving back as well in how we do our business and in how we engage them and how we value them. So there's a lot of lessons here. So Mary, again, I echo Cecilia's sentiments. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you back again. Thank you.
And Mary, we always like to ask our guests for a closing thought, and then how can people get in touch with you if they'd like to reach out to you directly?
Oh, I'd love that. It's very easy because we've been talking Marlow FM. So it's www.marlowfm.co.uk. And we've got a donate button if anybody feels like helping us.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, do make a pitch for that. This is radio in its purest form, folks, because it's people in the community talking to each other over the radio waves. So do donate if you visit their website. I think that's a great suggestion.
Wonderful. That would be so wonderful. And as and information about our station is all on the website as well. So, but my passing comment will: make mistakes, follow your dreams.
Oh, that's fantastic. A great advice. So unfortunately, we have to go rogue for now. If you'd like to learn more about our company, Rogue Tulips Nonprofit Consulting, you can visit us online at roguetulips.com. We encourage you to check out our sister organization, the 501c League. That's a leader in CAE education and helping nonprofit professionals earn the CAE designation. You can check out the league at the 501cleague.net. And we will be back next week with another exciting episode of Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia. But for now, we have to go rogue. So we'll see you next time, folks. And thanks again, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you so much.